Chapter 2: Living World. This world is incredibly diverse. If we just look around, we can see wonderful examples of this diversity. Among these objects, some have life, while others do not. Chairs, tables, plants, buildings, cars, glasses, pens are examples of inanimate objects. On the other hand, humans, cows, trees, fish, mosquitoes, ants are examples of living organisms. There are also some living organisms that cannot be seen with naked eye, such as bacteria, amoeba, etc. From small to large, from soil to water, the living world is made up of various types of organisms present in the air. This chapter discusses all this. Lesson 1. What is a living being? An entity that has life is called a living organism. For example, plants, cows, fish, insects, mushrooms, bacteria, etc. But if we ask the question, what is life? It is not possible to answer this question in one word. To define life, we must mention several characteristics of living organisms. Those who exhibit these characteristics are identified as living organisms. The characteristics exhibited by a living organism are discussed below. Lesson 2. Main characteristics of living beings. 1. Nutrient acquisition. Living organisms obtain nutrition to survive. They gain nutrients from food. Some organisms produce their own food. They are autotrophs. On the other hand, heterotrophic organisms gain nutrition by consuming other organisms. 2. Growth and development. Living organisms grow. Each organism is made up of structural units called cells. Over time, through biological processes, the number of cells in the organism's body increases, leading to growth and development into a fully mature organism. 3. Energy conversion. Living organisms transform the energy produced in their bodies. For example, the energy produced in an animal's body is used for various functions of the body. 4. Reproduction. Reproduction occurs in living beings. Through this process, living beings propagate their species. Humans propagate their lineage through the production of childs. 5. Response to environment. Living beings respond to changes in the external environment. When a mosquito sits on our body, we are eager to kill it. Plants grown in dark environments grow rapidly towards light to find light. 6. Adaptation. Each living organism has the ability to adapt. To survive in the changes of the environment, organisms have acquired adaptive abilities over thousands of years. For example, most plants that grow in deserts have flat and spiny leaves. These characteristics help them conserve water. These features have been incorporated into plants through long-term adaptation. These mentioned characteristics are seen in all living organisms. On the other hand, these characteristics are not observed in inanimate objects. Lesson 3. Classification of living beings. According to scientists, there are approximately 8.7 million different species of living organisms on Earth. To understand this diverse array of organisms more easily, scientists have attempted to classify all living organisms on Earth based on their characteristics. In 1969, scientist Whittaker introduced the five-kingdom classification system. In 1974, scientist Margulis reorganized this classification and introduced the modern classification system of the living world. The modern classification system is as follows. Kingdom 1. Monera. The characteristics of the organisms classified under this kingdom are: A. The organism is unicellular and lacks a well-defined nucleus in its cells. B. They are very small and cannot be seen without a microscope. Examples: bacteria, cyanobacteria, Spirogyra, etc. Kingdom 2. Protista. Organisms classified under this kingdom have cells with a well-defined nucleus. They can be unicellular or multicellular. They may contain chlorophyll and exist individually or in groups. Examples: Euglena, amoeba, etc. Kingdom 3. Fungi. Their bodies have a well-defined nucleus. They are usually unicellular or multicellular. They do not contain chlorophyll, so they are heterotrophic. Examples: yeast, penicillium, mushrooms, etc. Kingdom 4. Plantae. Most plants can produce their own food. Their bodies are made up of numerous cells. Their cell walls are made of cellulose. Their cells have a well-defined nucleus and vacuoles. Plants have chlorophyll so they can produce food. Examples: mango, jamun, jackfruit, etc. The vast plant kingdom can be further divided into various groups based on their characteristics. According to the natural classification by George Bentham and Dalton Hooker, the plant kingdom is divided into the following groups. Non-flowering plant. Plants that do not produce flowers, fruits and seeds are called non-flowering plants. Example: moss, fern, etc. They reproduce by spores. Non-flowering plants are divided into three groups. Thallophyta. The body of these plants cannot be divided into roots, stems and leaves. Among them, those that have chlorophyll so they can make their own food are algae. Example: Spirogyra. And those who do not have chlorophyll in their body so they cannot make their own food. They are fungi. Example: Agaricus. Bryophyta. Their bodies can be divided into stems and leaves, but they do not have roots. Instead of roots, they have rhizoids. Usually they grow on soft linings like carpets on old wet walls. For example, bryon. Fern plants. The fern plant body is divided into root, stem and leaves. They have transport tissue in their body and young leaves are coiled. They can be found growing in semi-shaded areas near houses and on the walls of old buildings. For example, terrace. Flowering plants. Plants are divided into flowering and non-flowering depending on the presence and absence of flowers. Plants that produce flowers are called flowering plants. For example, mango, jackfruit, paddy, coconut, etc. Their bodies are clearly divided into roots, stems and leaves. They are reproduced through the process of pollination through flowers. Depending on the seed coat, flowering plants are further divided into gymnosperms and angiosperms. Flowers of gymnosperms do not produce fruit because they do not have an ovary, so the seeds remain naked. Example: cycas, pinus, etc. And because the flowers of the herbaceous plants have a uterus, the fruits are produced and the seeds are covered. Example: mango, blackberries, betel nut, etc. Kingdom 5: Animalia. The cells of these organisms do not have a cell wall made of cellulose. Generally, these cells also lack plastids. Therefore, they directly or indirectly depend on plants for food. Examples: fish, birds, cows, humans, etc. The animal kingdom can be divided in various ways. Based on the presence of a backbone, the animal kingdom is divided into two groups: vertebrates and invertebrates. Fish, frogs, birds, lizards, cows, goats, humans, etc. have a backbone, and thus they are called vertebrates. Mosquitoes, flies, butterflies, shrimp, crabs, earthworms, etc. do not have a backbone and are called invertebrates. Invertebrates do not have vertebral columns. These animals do not have any skeleton. Their eyes are simple. Sometimes they have many small eyes gathered together into one eye, which is a compound eye. They do not have tails. Many of them are so tiny in size that they cannot be seen with bare eyes. Amoeba is an example of such animal. Earthworm and leech belong to another group of animal. Their bodies are divided into many segments. Snail and oyster fall into yet another group. Their bodies are not segmented and usually covered with hard shells. They have muscular foot. Butterfly, mosquito, fly, cockroach, white ant, bee, etc. are insects. In the animal kingdom, these kind of animals are the largest in number. Their body is divided into three parts. Example: head, thorax and abdomen. They have joint foot and compound eyes. Some of these insects are useful. They are called useful insects. Examples: bee, silkworm, etc. On the contrary, mosquito and fly spread various diseases among us. Some other insects such as white ant, leather insect, ricista, etc. causes damages to our houses, furniture and crops. There are some marine animals whose integument is spiny. Starfish and sea urchins belong to this group. Jellyfish and corals are different types of invertebrates. They have a body cavity, coelenteron. They have a single opening which is used for both intaking food and expelling of wastes. Vertebrates animals. They have vertebral columns, skeleton within the bodies. They have wings or two pairs of appendages. Their eyes are simple, except humans. All other vertebrates have tails. They respire by gills and lungs. Vertebrates can be divided into many classes on the basis of their diverse characteristics. All fishes belong to group named fishes. They live in water. Most of them have scales. Examples: hilsa, rohi, koi, etc. However, some of them have no scales. For example, magur, shing, etc. They use gills for respiration. They also have fins which they use to swim. Frogs are amphibians. They spend some parts of their life in water and some on the land. They do not have any hair, scales or feather on integuments. They have two pairs of legs. There is no nail on their phalanges. At the primary stage of their life cycle, the tadpole respires by gill, and at the adult stage they respire by lungs. One lizard, crocodile, snake, salamander, etc. are the reptiles. These animals move by putting their weight on trunk. They have claws on their toes, lay eggs and hatch them to give birth to the young ones. They respire through lungs. Duck, chicken, pigeon, quail, etc. fall under the class of aves. Their body is covered by feathers. Having feathers is the main identifying feature of birds. Except birds, no other animals have feathers. Most of the birds can fly. Ostrich, penguin and some other birds cannot fly. Birds lay eggs. They hatch eggs to give birth to babies. Monkey, rat, dog, cat, cow, goat, etc. are mammals. Humans also fall into this class of animals. Mammals have hair on their body, feed mother's milk to their babies, and the female give birth to babies. Mammals are more intelligent than fish, frog, snake, and bird. Their brains and bodies are well developed.